we made $300,000 in AdSense last year. Videos that people are like, oh, that's interesting. I got to click on that. I had 4 videos in the span of like 3 months get over 1 million views. Okay.
Let's do top 3 things everyone should do in 2024.
First thing, don't buy a new car.
All right. Welcome to Silicon Valley, girl. I have a very special guest today. He's one of the few creators who live in the Bay Area, and that's exciting. Why are you still here, Humphrey? Welcome to this podcast.
Thank you for having me, Marina.
Why are you still in the Bay Area?
Is that your question?
Yes, that's my first question. Because I always ask people because they tend to move. I met so many creators here who ended up living in LA, or even entrepreneurs. They're like, oh, I'm done with Silicon Valley. I met everyone I had to meet. Now I know everyone. I can come back anytime, but I enjoyed my life in LA, in Orange County, or like just traveling the world. What keeps you here?
Yeah, so my family is here, and my dad is quite old. He's in his 90s now. And so that's one thing that I don't really want to leave the Bay Area for, is to be close to him. Like if I was living in New York City or something like that, if my dad got sick, I would have this like immense guilt about like not being there for him.
That's amazing that you're doing this.
Well, thank you.
Because I just watched it, like a lot of people put their parents in like, elderly homes, etc. It's great that you're there for him.
I think he definitely needs some help now that he's in his he's 92. And I think I would like to be there for him all the time, but I know that it's impossible to do that. But I think he is looking actively to get someone to help him around the house, which is good. But he's still in pretty good shape. Like he'll still travel a lot, and he used to be in the military. So I feel like he's very independent and doesn't want that help. So it's kind of hard to navigate that a little bit.
But that's amazing. He's 92. I just watched this. You know what's going on Netflix? Whenever you watch a movie about like how to live to 100 years, they're going to push you the vegan diet.
Yeah, I get a lot of those. The Blue Zone stuff. Well,
the Blue Zones was okay. The Blue Zones was okay. There was another one, You Are What You Eat.
Oh, I saw that one yesterday.
And I was like, come on, guys. And they were talking about cholesterol. And I'm like, yeah, I have this problem. And no, bad oils, whatever, fried food. And they're like, nah, vegan. This is weird. Okay, is your father vegan?
No, he's not. He's not. He actually has the worst diet ever. He'll eat like frozen foods out of the freezer and eat like really old food. It's pretty funny.
Now I wonder what's his secret.
Yeah.
Have you ever asked him?
No.
That's a video idea.
Yeah, that's a good video idea.
Asking my 92-year-old dad, what's the secret for a long life?
Long life, yeah. And then the other reason I stay here is just I have more friends here. I grew up here, and so all my high school friends are here. And I feel like those relationships are really hard to replace. And so when you've been friends with someone for 18 years, it's like it's hard to replace that.
I wanted to thank Revolut for sponsoring this video. Quick ad break. When our startup made it to the 500 Startups Accelerator and I came to the US in 2015, one of the problems that I faced was not having a local account from which I could pay for purchases, transfer money, or exchange currency, since I didn't have a magical thing called SSN, Social Security Number. And the few options out there were costly. I know that immigrants in the US still face this problem all the time, but luckily now you have Revolut. Revolut is a financial super app for all kinds of people, from those just starting out to financially savvy individuals to advanced investors. Recently, they launched a great onboarding feature for non-resident aliens in the US. So if you're not a US resident or don't have an SSN, this is for you. You will only need to provide a valid government ID and a non-tourist visa to create an account and access all Revolut's fundamental products, including prepaid debit card with no monthly fees, fast domestic and international money transfers, currency exchange at competitive rates, and more. With Revolut, you can hold multi-currency accounts while living, studying, or working in the US. Revolut also allows you to get your paycheck up to 2 days early when you set up direct deposit and get up to 5% cashback on purchases from qualifying merchants. And once you get your SSN, you can upgrade to premium or metal plans with even more benefits, such as travel insurance and a competitive 4.25% APY for savings. It only takes a few minutes to sign up from your phone. Download the app now. I'll leave the link in the description below this video. Now back to our conversation.
Next big goal, like once you become a household name, what's your end goal? Like where do you see, where's it going?
Well, I'd like to start a business one day. I mean, the YouTube stuff's already a business, but before YouTube, I was an entrepreneur. Like I had an e-commerce business.
What did you sell?
We sold posters online.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I did that for 3 years before I made YouTube videos, which I think helped a lot to like get going in terms of self-employment. But eventually, I don't know. I just think it affords me a lot of opportunities having a big personal brand. And I'm not really too sure what I want to do in 5 to 10 years, but I know that if I have a big personal brand, like that's good leverage. So I might as well keep getting the views for now. And I'm okay delaying some monetization parts for that trade-off. Because I do know that at the same time, I'm sacrificing some monetization now by not going deeper and like doing more affiliate links or perhaps selling a product or something like that.
Well, do you sell anything?
I don't sell anything. I need to sell something.
Okay.
I don't know what to sell.
But some people will love you for that. He's not selling anything.
That is true. I don't sell anything, but I think I missed out on a little bit of peace of mind because I think by having something that consistently sells, you're not reliant on algorithms or brand deals or anything like that. You kind of your audience will help
things.
you.
Yeah.
And so I don't really know what to sell.
What are you thinking?
So the easiest thing that I could sell is like a budgeting template, which would be fine, but I don't think it would be very high ticket, maybe $10, $20 at most. And honestly, you can get a lot of those for free online. So I don't know, maybe mine would be a little bit different because it's more robust. I had a friend over the holidays, he bought a template from a real estate investor and he paid $49 for it. And he actually liked it. He said it had some, inconsistencies, but he really liked it because... And he felt like it was justified because, $49 for a template, but it could potentially make him a lot of money with a rental property. So in terms of that, if you sell it in that framework, it makes a lot of sense. But I've noticed that if you're trying to sell something where someone already has free access to that information and just has to put a little elbow grease in, or it doesn't help them make money, people don't want to buy it as much. And so now I'm just like, I don't know what to sell. I don't know what to make.
Interesting. Yeah.
We'll
maybe
see.
like a physical product.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay. Let's talk about your income then.
Okay, let's talk about my income.
Okay, can you share numbers? Or share whatever you're comfortable with
I will
sharing.
share. Yeah, I mean, I made a YouTube video on YouTube that we made $300,000 in AdSense last year.
Congratulations.
Yes.
That's in 2023, right?
In 2023,
When did you start posting long form?
Well, I started taking it seriously in May 2020.
That's amazing. Congratulations.
So the first year, maybe like 80,000. The second year was like first year as in like 2020 was maybe less than that. I'm trying to think. 2020 was about 15 or 20K. 2021 was about 100K. 2022, 120K. And then last year we really blew up.
What happened?
2023?
Yeah. Is it mostly long form, by the way?
Mostly long form that's monetizing that. I think the way that we blew up was, well, first of all, I had a few videos just like start getting a lot of views. I had 4 videos in the span of like 3 months get over 1 million views. And on finance, that pays quite well. But it's just coming up with better topics.
What's the CPM?
My
average?
RPM is about $13, which is low for finance. I know some finance channels which have a little higher.
Mine is like 2 or 3.
It really came down to picking better topics and titles and making clickable videos. Videos that people are like, oh, that's interesting. I got to click on that. And then also keeping their watch time high.
Where did you get your inspiration for those videos?
Well, one of them was from Nate O'Brien. So thank you. Shout out Nate. And then that one really kicked us off. Like the next few were just like practical videos about home buying or car buying that I thought were really valuable to people. And then we packaged it a little bit better than I think other channels would have. And then I made sure to keep the retention really high. I tried my best, at least in the first 3 minutes, to get people really invested in the video. And so I think it was a combination of a lot of things, but I think at the end of the day in 2023, the biggest takeaway I had was titles and thumbnails matter more than I thought.
Than content.
And yeah, actually, I think if you watch any one of my videos, the average view duration is very similar. It's like between 6 and 7 minutes for a good video. And so really the only difference is, can you get people to click on it?
Yeah.
Because once they're in it, they're going to be there for 5, 6, 7 minutes. And it's like, okay, if I can get people to actually click on this at a much higher rate, then it'll take off. And so that's been my weakness all the time, is packaging videos. maybe not making them. And so you just have to work on your weaknesses continually. And then finally, you'll get you also need some luck. And
I love that. But also consistency.
Yeah,
You've been posting every week, right? One long video a week? Or
yeah, since 2020, at least one video a week. I think in 2020 we did 2. And then in the beginning of 2021, we did 3 a week because I was like just going for volume. I was just trying to pump them out. And that's unsustainable. It's unsustainable.
What's the schedule now with long form?
Now it's about 1 a week, but I'm trying to push it to 2 clickable videos a week. So I say clickable as in like, I think I can make any 2 videos a week if I wanted to, but to make them very enticing to click on is very different. So for sure I can do 1 clickable video a week, but can I push it to 2? I don't know. I don't know. So that's what I'm working on.
Yeah, team. So the question, you used to work in finance prior to YouTube, but when you make a real estate video, for example, do you ever get like an imposter syndrome? Because, have you bought homes before? Have you been?
Yeah, so I actually haven't made a real estate video where it's like how to buy a piece of property or how to rent a property because I haven't done it yet. But I have made a video on REITs and I've bought REITs before. So
okay,
just like the ETF version.
Nice.
Sometimes, yeah, there's a little bit of imposter syndrome if I don't know the topic as well as I should. And I'm doing research on the topic myself. But I think I can get over that because I feel like I put more research into my videos than most people would. And, if someone's coming to me for that research, then I'm providing that.
And you do all the research by yourself. Any tools? Perplexity? No? Have you started
Sometimes
using?
I use Perplexity or ChatGPT, but honestly, it's the only time I would use ChatGPT is like if I'm reading like an article that's like a lot of jargon, like I can't really understand it, so I'll just put it into ChatGPT and be like, explain this to me in like layman's terms. It's a little helpful. I do a lot of the research myself and writing myself, and then the filming, but then everything else is mostly outsourced. But the thing is that even that is hard. That takes a lot of my time. Yeah. And then add in shorts, and like that's like another confounding factor. It's like sometimes I don't even have time for shorts.
How many hours a week do you work?
Oh, that's a tough question. I think a script probably takes me anywhere from 2 to 6 hours of like focused writing.
Wow.
And then the research is probably part of that. So I'll say one full YouTube script is like, let's say conservatively,
a full
day. Yeah. But that's if I have the idea. Half the other time I'm thinking about what should I do? How can I make it clickable? I'm browsing, I'm taking notes. I'm like thinking of twists that I can do. Like, you see a successful video. It's like, oh, how can I put my own twist on it? I talk to a strategist. I have a strategist that helps me with titles and thumbnails.
Oh, nice.
And then...
Is he someone known or how did you find him?
I used to work with this guy named Patty Galloway.
Oh, so he's
YouTube
your strategist?
No, it's someone who works for him now. It's nice. His data guy. His name's Chris Galetta, and he's very good.
Oh, interesting.
And so we'll look at all the data of like what's done well on my channel, what types of videos are being suggested by my channel or suggesting to me, and then we'll take a look if we can find some sort of ideas that would work for us.
Does he come up with like cool thumbnails and titles?
He helps titles a lot, but thumbnails, sometimes he'll weigh in a little bit. Thumbnails, it's usually me thinking about it, I would say. He definitely helps though. Like I'll bounce I'll get some concepts and drafts and I'll send it to him and he'll be like, oh yeah, this is good. But I also have like a network of other YouTubers that I might bounce it off of.
Oh, nice.
Like I might send it to Nate or Sebi, if you know Sebi. Yeah. And then I might send it to a couple other YouTubers who aren't in finance and see what they think of it. So there's a lot of like...
It's a lot of work behind the scenes.
A lot of diligence behind the scenes just to make sure like this is a good thumbnail.
That's amazing.
It's a lot.
Yeah. So Google AdSense, 300K.
Oh, yeah.
Brand deals?
Brand deals, they're up and down. Last year it was down a little bit. I probably averaged like one brand deal a month, 1 or 2 a month, and mostly on shorts.
Oh, and shorts.
Oh, sorry, not shorts. TikTok, Instagram, typically.
Interesting. Yeah. You don't get long form?
Now we're trying to do more long form. Yeah, but even long form, maybe 1 a month. Not very many at all. And so that's probably, I would say that's a little less than AdSense. And then we have affiliate links, but that's my entire business.
They're number 3 in terms of like the
affiliate links would be number 3. Yeah, last. So, I mean, I make a decent amount, but it's not like I'm like I know other channels in my niche that are killing it, but I'm very grateful for how much I make, so it's fine.
And how big is the team?
It's me and a full-time editor, And then I have 2 part-time editors.
Are they in the US?
Full-time editors in Canada. Part-time editor 1, Canada. Part-time editor 2, Detroit, Michigan. Mm-hmm. And then I have a thumbnail guy. He's in the UK. Mm-hmm. And then I guess I would count Chris as part of my team, but he's kind of on a retainer and he's just, you pay him monthly.
Is it worth it?
Oh, yeah. I think he's worth it.
Because I'm thinking of hiring someone like...
I think it'd be worth it because if you can get a video idea that, and one good video idea can pay for itself really quickly. Like if you get 1 million views on one video, then it's worth it. So yeah, in my opinion, it's worth it. And it's just nice to have someone to bounce these ideas off of so that you're not just in your own head and be like, is this a good idea? Is this a bad idea?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, I know you're going to ask me questions today, but I actually do want to hear about your day-to-day because I think it's a little bit of a mystery, maybe even to your viewers. What does your day-to-day look like? Do you have certain filming days? Do you write other days? Is it a lot of meetings? What does the back end look like?
Yeah, I have a team, so we jump on calls with my team. I have filming days, but normally they happen in LA because this is where all of the creators are. I would just go to LA sometimes. I would just jump on a flight. So I would drop my kids off at daycare, jump on a flight from SFO to LAX, do a couple of interviews, fly back. Sometimes I'm back by the time they get back home.
No way.
So it's like a 1-day trip. Yeah, we just came back from LA. I spent a week there. And my husband, he was like, okay, you can go for 3 days by yourself, do all the filming. So I did 10 episodes, I think, in 3 days.
So are you trying to change the channel to more just interviews stuff now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, gotcha. I love meeting people.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit tired. Well, first of all, shorts are great. But I don't see the impact. I see yes, I'm working for the algorithm. I'm not working for my subscribers. I am working for this machine that decides whether to show my post or not. And it was cool back in the day to experience millions of views. But now I'm but what does another 10 million view video get me? How does it change my life? How does it change other people's lives?
Okay.
I don't know. When I meet other creators, and I want to hear your strategy, because when I met with Charlie, for example, he's like, I don't care if this video gets 5K views, 10K views. I only care who watches it. And if I'm targeting entrepreneurs, if I'm targeting startup founders, if 2,000 startup founders watch this video, I have my affiliate program in place, I'm good. And in my world, I want more views. This is this is the metric that I'm looking for. What is your metric?
Yeah, so I think I've talked to Charlie before, and I understand that his strategy is a little bit different than mine would be. Mine is pretty much optimize viewership as big as I can, as big as I can go. Personally, I want to build a big personal brand, and I feel like that usually means you need to go a little bit wider instead of deeper, versus Charlie might be going deeper with certain audiences. I'm just trying to cast a really wide net, get people to know who I am, know what I'm talking about in terms of financial literacy, and then continue to build that so that I become a household name possibly, and then I can go from there.
And how do you feel about being recognized all the time? Because it comes with it. Being recognized, being scrutinized, people discussing everything you're doing, every single detail.
Yeah, I don't, so far it's pretty good. I like being recognized. I think I get some satisfaction and fulfillment out of that. And I think that, people recognize me for helping their lives, which is always inspiring to me. Obviously, if it got a little crazy, if I was getting stopped on the street all the time, I don't get stopped on the street a lot, so that's good. But once a week or something is kind of nice. Yeah. But if it was all the time and people were up in my business, I don't know how I'd feel about it. But it's kind of we chose the path anyway, so
okay.
I can't be too upset about it. I heard a Mr. Beast interview where he was saying 1 million subscribers is a good spot because you get recognized sometimes and it's fulfilling, but then once you get to 10 million, it's almost every other time you go out, someone recognizes you. But then once you get to 50 or 100 million, you just can't go anymore anymore.
Yeah. It's interesting.
There's different levels to it.
So with your strategy, getting recognized, I think, so you're doubling down, you're still doing a lot of shorts, right? Because I've seen you pushing out short content.
I mean, I try to do 3 shorts a week. I still think it's a good driver for growth on YouTube Shorts and Instagram Reels.
You post the same content across all the platforms.
All the platforms. I've noticed for the past 2 years, I haven't really gained that many followers on TikTok. It's been pretty much flat, or I'll lose some.
I'm losing followers. I lost 100K in the past few months. I was I've never seen that.
It's pretty...
What's happening?
I think people just follow because they, they find something valuable that you say, initially, and then they'll unfollow because maybe they don't see your content anymore, or they don't find value in you anymore. That's what I think, at least.
But that's weird.
It is weird. I will say that since January 1st, I've been posting just really casual TikToks. So I noticed like in last fall, like all these casual TikToks were doing well, where someone just put like, they turn on the phone and they just talk for like a minute and a half.
Yeah.
Like I was getting served a lot of that. So starting January 1st, I've just been doing that. I just like pop open my phone. I'm like, here's a finance tip for you today. And I've actually gained like 3,000 followers since January 1st.
Okay.
And it's really like, sometimes it's like not even scripted. I just have a couple bullet points in my head. I'm like, okay, number 1, number 2, number 3. It takes me 15, 20 minutes.
And you just post it raw, no editing.
Yeah. I don't even put captions on. I just like let TikTok do the captions, like auto caption it, and I'll leave the mistakes in there. No music. It's just like the lowest effort possible, but at least it's something valuable for the audience. And so we might film a TikTok today where I'm just going to like, what's your best financial tip? Or what's your biggest guilty pleasures purchase? We can talk about that. Something kind of funny. Let's make 3 produced shorts a week. But it's a lot of effort. And the produce,
they go on YouTube and Instagram. They don't go into TikTok.
They go on TikTok too. But I noticed that the ones on TikTok, they never do well.
Interesting. Wow, yeah. TikTok for me has always been like a social network where I post things because I just have them for YouTube and Instagram.
Yeah.
And now I see how, the strategy, like, maybe I have to change the strategy because I'm losing followers.
It's a little different. I remember you went on Graham's podcast early on and you said that you got like 900,000 followers on TikTok without even checking TikTok.
Back in the day. Magic used to happen.
I think now it's just so weird. It's just... Also, people don't really like TikTok these days. The sentiment about people that are on TikTok is a lot lower because of TikTok Shop. It's like too much.
Have you ever tried selling something on TikTok?
No.
TikTok Shop? No, I tried. Nobody buys.
Yeah.
Because of this link in bio, your video tanks.
Yep.
If you say link in bio.
Link in bio, yeah.
We're rolling out the shop because you can now do the Shopify feature on YouTube. So we're doing a Shopify because I used to sell all my products through my website, but now we're going to do Shopify to see, because again, with Shorts, disabling links, and that has been a major source of income for me and like a lot of brands. We did a lot of brand deals. Now it's all in the past. So we're experimenting with new things. And I think we're going to try, because I have a lot of PDFs for our language learners, and we'll try to sell them through like a shopping feature. I don't know. Maybe that works.
Okay. Well, I'm excited to hear how that goes. You'll have to tell me offline how it's going.
Yeah. You also mentioned you're buying a house.
I wanted to this year, but now I don't know.
Why?
Because it's so much cheaper to rent in San Francisco than it is to buy.
You're thinking of buying for yourself, not like an investment?
Correct. Thinking about buying for myself. And so, why
not invest?
I don't know. That's a good question. Didn't you just buy some Airbnbs?
Yeah. We just bought. Well, we're still closing. But by the time this video is out, we're closing next week.
Oh, congratulations. How'd you do the math on that? Did you get a mortgage?
Yeah, so we met someone who's a real estate person here in Palo Alto.
Okay.
But he manages several properties on Big Island and has a property on the Big Island himself. And so he started showing us how economics work, and he's been doing this for, I think, 7 years. And yes, it's kind of like, it's kind of risky because I know it's a vacation area. Like if something happens again, like COVID, because now we're also scared of Black Swan events because they seem to happen every year. And I'm like, what's going to happen in 2024? That's a big step for me. But also when I talk to people like Carlton Dennis and like other people in real estate, I get so excited. So
I mean, it's a great way to depreciate against your income, right? Depreciate some,
and there's this
tax
thing,
shelter yourself.
Yeah, because my husband's going to manage it also.
Okay.
And if he gets like 100 hours, that type of thing, you can depreciate 30% in the first year, but we still have to figure it out, like how he's going to be doing that.
That's good TikTok.
That's right a good. Yeah. Oh yeah, and that's the whole new content pillar on my content topic. On
it'll be great because then you can make more videos about your rental property in Hawaii.
Why don't you invest in real estate? So you only invest in stocks, right?
Right now, just stocks and a little bit of cryptocurrency. Very small, like 5% or less of my investments is in crypto. I had saved all this cash in order to buy a home. But then I was talking to another friend about it, and he was like, it doesn't even make sense to buy a home right now in the Bay Area because it's like you can rent the same home for half.
I know. We're renting this for a third of what they're paying for a mortgage.
So it's
and like all of the problems that come with a house, like they come in like every 3 or 4 months because something is broken.
Yeah. So there you go. So it's like, okay, I can just keep my rent cheap and I can write off a portion of rent for my office. Yeah. And so if I do that, then I can just keep stacking money, and then maybe I'll buy a nicer house in like 3 years, you know? So I'm okay just being flexible right now. No rush to kind of figure it out. But maybe I'll think about the investment property.
Really? Yeah. Because I really wanted to get into the real estate game, but like my mortgage was, and I made a video about it, 1.5 million.
Okay.
And I started looking at homes around here, and I found this like ruined house that was the only house available in the market for 1.5 in Mountain View, and I made a TikTok and it was like 20 million. You're like, you're lying. That like it can't cost that much, but this is the reality of the Bay Area. And we decided, okay, let's just buy a rental and start the real estate game because we can't afford a primary home.
I think it's going to be great. And I'm excited to see how your channel does with the videos and the videos you make. And maybe you'll inspire me to buy one too. Yeah. Maybe I'll be your neighbor.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
In Hawaii.
So you've grown pretty well on YouTube. You want to launch your own product.
Maybe.
Humphrey in 5 years.
Oh, hopefully still doing this.
Still here doing this. YouTube full. Have you thought about like, okay, I'm going to rephrase this question because a lot of YouTubers, or like content creators, once they've done this for like 6 to 7 years, they're like, okay, how do I remove myself from the picture?
Yeah.
Have you thought about that?
No.
You want to be the face? You want to promote your face for a personal brand? Okay.
Yeah, I think I think that you can have a lot of longevity on YouTube. I think that people tend to think that the creator life cycle is like 3 to 6 years, which definitely it is. I bet the average is probably like that. Like if you looked across the entire industry, but I feel like anybody can have a lot of staying power as long as they stay true to their mission. And if their mission is creating content for, let's say, the greater good of your audience and teaching people stuff, you can remain relevant for a long time. I think, like you see a lot of the big physics channels, they've been around for like 10, 15 years.
But I've also seen a lot of science channels who sold their channels. Do you know Veritasium?
He sold?
He sold.
To who?
A company called Electrify.
Did he sell all of it or part of it?
He sold part of it. He's still on the channel, but he's doing a lot less than he used to. I don't know the full logistics, but I know he sold part of it. There's another YouTube channel that has recently been sold because a lot of people I want to spend more time with my family, you know. So this is not your problem yet. So you haven't started like a faceless channel or like a network of channels.
No, that's not me. I think maybe I want to start a second channel I don't know. I was thinking about starting a second channel just for fun, but I think right now the focus is still grow the main channel. And then I don't have...
How old are you? Sorry.
I'm 36.
36.
I don't have a...
why do you look 22?
Thanks. I don't have a girlfriend. I don't have a family. So maybe if those priorities change, then maybe my answer would be different. But for now, it's just like, okay, I can keep growing this brand for a while. I think I have a lot of staying power on YouTube. As long as I stay with it and, don't let content get stale and innovate a little bit. Yeah. I feel like as long as you have the passion, it can still be there for you. There are some examples of people on YouTube for like 10 years. 10, 15 years. And I think I look up to those people. And it's like, I feel like a lot of the compounding in YouTube is like year 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You've been on YouTube, what, 6 years? 5?
We're going to celebrate 10 years this year.
See? Did you see a lot of the gains in the last 4 years, probably?
Yes. Well, with shorts. With
shorts, especially.
Yeah.
But I think, you're on YouTube 10 years now, which is very, very cool.
But it's different now. Because when you start, you can experiment with topics. Because I remember I was just talking to my husband this morning that my first videos were like GMAT, TOEFL, personal statement for the university, how to buy a retired police interceptor, how to exercise every morning, this recipe for a cake. Like I was just going wild. Like let's review this S class or whatever.
Yeah.
Now it's like, people expect certain things from you and you feel like you can't say a lot of things now because they're going to be like, oh, she said that and they're going to remember in 10 years. So you're like, you kind of
feel a little boxed in. Well, in the beginning, you were probably doing a lot of those topics to find what your voice was, right?
Yeah, and you don't get bashed for, talking about, fitness routine, even if you're not like a fitness instructor. But now it feels like everyone is demanding proof.
But that's probably why a lot of the big creators, they create these second and their third channels to talk about other stuff that they're interested in that won't, mess up their first channel.
Let's do top 3 things everyone should do in 2024.
Okay, first thing, don't buy a new car.
Why?
I don't think new cars are worth it.
That's my opinion too. My car is down $60,000.
Isn't that messed up? Imagine buying your new Tesla for like 60 grand and then a year later it's worth 40, 30.
Yeah, it's like the worst experience ever. But I feel like for me, I had to go through the process, making my first money. Yeah. Let's buy a new car. And now, I've experienced that. I'm not going to do that again.
Yeah, so that's my biggest tip for most people. People always want to buy a new car because it looks good and they feel like they need to upgrade after 3 or 4 years. It smells good. But really, like, you lose 30% of your value when you buy a new car. Yeah. And if you're not buying a new car for a certain reason, like let's say you're just making a god amounts of money, then sure, buy a new car. But if you're not, and you're just trying to stay within your means, just buy a gently used 3-year car, right? Because most of the depreciation is gone. It's still pretty new. 3 years old is not old at all. You go into a 2021 car, you're like,
this
is
can get
nice.
low mileage as well.
Yeah. So I think buying a new car is a bad idea.
Yeah.
And the average car payment these days is like $700 for a new car, $750. And the average loan term is 68 months. So that means people are just like shackling themselves to a car payment that they can't afford. And so
how much of your cash should be invested and how much stays in cash?
Oh, okay. So obviously my situation is a little different because I was trying to save for a home. But I'm actually a proponent that you should have a little bit more cash than you think you need. Mm-hmm. And I think that keeps you flexible in terms of your options that you have. Like, let's say you do run into an emergency, you have your normal emergency fund, but you also have a little bit extra so that you're not feeling pressured to take the first job that comes at you or put yourself in a compromised position. Mm-hmm. So I personally like to have like 15 to 20% of all my net worth in cash, which is too much.
And by cash, you mean CDs or just pure cash or like high yield savings?
Cash sitting in a high yield savings. Mm-hmm. So it's at least earning you something now. Yeah. But I think there's a lot of people out there that say you should invest all your cash besides your emergency fund. Mm-hmm. But I think having some cash gives you some flexibility. So I like it.
So 15 to 20% in cash.
Yeah.
80%, how do you divide between like growth versus,
Yeah, so that definitely depends on who you are. If you're on the riskier side or you're on the younger side, you're probably looking at just straight up growth. Like, let's be as aggressive as possible. Aggressive being like individual stocks that are good individual stocks, like your Googles, your Apples, your Facebooks of the world, not like penny stocks. And then if you're more conservative, you can go with ETFs. So S&P 500 ETF, maybe you do a nice mix of that. I generally am against bonds for younger people just because historically they haven't been returning that well. And as a young person, like under 30, you don't really need that. You can just go straight for the equities. But these days, bonds pay pretty well. Yeah. So it might be worth having in your portfolio. But I have a lot of videos on that. Basically, it's so dependent on every person. And it depends on, one, their risk tolerance. And two, what their time horizon is. If you have someone trying to invest for 10 years just to buy a house in 10 years, like let's say you're 20 years old and you want to buy a house in 10 years, then your strategy might be very different compared to someone who's just trying to save for retirement, like 30 years, 40 years. Yeah.
Number 3,
yes.
maybe some life hack. I don't know.
Life hack.
Yeah. Okay. Roth IRA will know that. There was another thing last year I bought, so everyone can buy up to $10,000 of. There is a certain treasury that you can buy for every the
I-bonds.
I-bond.
Yeah.
Is it I-bonds? Yeah, 7%.
Yeah. They were 7%. I think they're lower now.
They were 7%.
Yeah.
Or maybe something similar to that life hack that people don't know.
For me, it's like I get a lot of cash back with credit cards. Do you ever talk about credit cards and the rewards?
Oh, yeah. We fly for free
not
all
right?
the time, but
with points, right?
With points, yeah. We flew from Amsterdam to San Francisco this summer for $400 business class for people.
What credit card do you have?
Chase Business Inc.
Chase Business
and Chase
Inc.
Sapphire.
Chase
but
points.
Business Inc. is...
Yeah. I think one of the coolest hacks that I found recently is like using Chase points and transferring them to Hyatt. I don't know if that's a hack. I think it's like kind of well known, but a lot of people didn't know. Like I didn't know this, but you can take your Chase points, transfer them to Hyatt, and oftentimes you can get a really nice hotel. Let's say, for example, I went to LA. The hotel was $500 a night, and I used Chase points, and it was $120 a night in 12,000 points a night. And so like that was a hack that I thought, I was like, oh, I should always be doing this, but I hadn't been doing it for so long. I was just using all my Chase points for airlines, which is fine too. Yeah. But I was getting a lot of value out of some of the Hyatt properties. And there's even like Ventana Big Sur. Famously, it goes for like $1,800 or $2,000 a night.
It's like crazy expensive.
But with points, it's like $400 a night. So it's like it saves you so much.
Interesting.
If that's your use case.
That's adults only hotel. So
Yeah.
we didn't go there.
But I don't know if I have like a really great life hack other than like don't spend that much money and increase your offense, which is increase your income.
What's your, have you ever calculated how much you make and how much you spend for yourself? Like what's the percentage?
I do, but I think it's unrealistic to
But
tell
what's
my
your
viewers.
what's your goal? Like where you try to stay in that number?
I try to save at least 50% of my income.
50%.
50%. I
That is
far
great.
exceeded that last year.
Wow.
But that's obviously I'm in a very
But I like
lucky
your
position.
mentality because a
Yeah.
lot of people, once they get, source of income, new source of income, they're going to get a new car. They're going to start, getting luxury goods.
There's a really great rule from this book called The Millionaire Next Door. Have you heard of this rule? It's basically, it can tell you if you're they call it an under accumulator of wealth or a prodigious accumulator of wealth. Basically, you take your gross income and you multiply it by your age. Okay. So let's say you make $100,000 a year and you're 30 years old. You multiply 100,000 times 30, which is $3 million. And then you divide it by 10 and that should be your net worth. And if it's less than that, that means you're under accumulating wealth, which means you're probably spending too much money.
Interesting.
But if you're over $300,000 in net worth at $100K salary per year, that means you're like accumulating enough wealth to be a prodigious, I keep saying prodigious. I think it's like a very good accumulator of wealth.
Oh, that's nice.
So it basically is a really good rule for people to see if they're spending too much money. Because like, let's say you make $1 million a year and you're 30 years old. Technically, your net worth should be 1 million times 30 million divided by 10, 3 million. So your net worth should be 3 million. And if it's not, that means you're spending too much money.
So you live by that rule?
I only read about it like a week ago and I kind of like the rule. And I think it's still applicable today. Yeah. I think it more just tells you if someone's being frugal enough that they should be in order to accumulate wealth. And wealth is funny because once you accumulate, let's say, if you can get to the 1 million number, like it accumulates so much faster, right? Just like if you get to your
It starts
first 100K.
growing by itself.
Yeah.
I have a question as a mom and as a person who comes from a culture where a lot of my friends who start making money, I saw a lot of them in Dubai and they're all driving Lambos and like it's a show. Like everyone has something to show off. Where does this culture come from? The culture of,
Showing off?
No, your approach when you don't spend too much money on yourself, when you don't buy luxury goods, does that, because I see a lot of Americans do that, like Graham, Nate, all of these people, but that's great. But it's a completely different culture for me, for where I come from. And I wonder, is it school? Is it your parents? Where does this come from?
I think a lot of personal finance habits come from your parents or it comes from your upbringing. Like, maybe you didn't have enough as a child and you feel like you have to make up for that now by like saving even more. Yeah.
In our culture, I didn't have this as a child. Now I'm going to have all of it.
Now you're going to have all of it, right? Yeah. And I think that's a pretty common, it's more psychological, right? It's like the psychology of spending money. Like if you feel like there's a chip on your shoulder from a young age, like let's say you were the poor kid and you were made fun of in school, you almost act out when you get rich or you get wealthy. You're like, I'm going to buy the Lambo and show everybody, hey, I made it, versus like maybe if you didn't have that growing up, you would not default to that. I think a lot of habits come from your parents though.
Well, when I talked to Graham, when we did an interview I think it was 2021, he's never been to Europe. Like another thought is maybe it's because in the US, you don't have free healthcare, you don't have free education, like nothing is free. If you own a home, you owe taxes. In a place where I come from, everything is provided by the government. Maybe that gives you like freedom to spend your money because in the event you lose everything, you're going to be taken care of. Maybe that.
Yeah, but you don't take your money with you when you die, so it's like you also gotta live it up a little bit.
Take it.
Yeah, your kids take it.
You're like, you don't worry about your kids.
Yeah.
That was amazing. Thank you so much for coming over. Thank you so much for staying in the Bay Area. It's so good to have more creators.
Right? Yeah, we need more Bay Area
people keep asking me why I'm here. I have no idea, guys, but I'm still here. So that's great to have more community here. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
Cool. Bye, guys.
Don't forget to subscribe.
See you soon. Bye.
Bye.